Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Battle Brothers Season 3. As today, unfortunately, none of the recruits and lounge stat are really catching my eye. The prices are too high for any serious trading. And we do not have any notable rumors, so I guess we're pretty much done here. Let's go ahead and grab that 2-skull contract, see if we can at least eke out some cash. Caravan run. To Ras Sanan. Which, on the one hand, is in the direction we're headed, but on the other hand, a 4-day commitment is pretty rough. Okay, I mean, almost $2,000. Hold on, let me check the route. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that's the one all the way on bottom right. And the reason it's a 4-day trek is because the road curves in a giant reverse S. Yeah, that's not a good use of our time. We'll just go by foot. Hit up these towns along the road. Ping trade goods, maybe grab a quest or two. Though, unfortunately, I think these first two towns are actually both fortifications, which do not offer normal quests. Those are noble quests only. That's fine, though. We'll still at least swing through, see what goods they have to offer. Ooh. Yeah, why not? 3 webnecks, that's barely a warm-up. Well, scratch that. And Hohenwacht, which has a kennel, but precious little else. Prices are a little high. Might as well grab some extra food while we're here. I'm always on the fence with those throwing spears. They are useful, but single-use item takes up a slot. Ooh, we could use the Houndmaster. Let me get a closer look. Ah, paranoid. Also a bastard. That's like a mid-tier troop. Falls somewhere between deserter and adventurous or disowned noble. Not sure it's really worth the investment, though, because if I recall correctly, their main event, their biggest event, essentially involves them dying for the chance at a rarer troop type. No, I think we can move on. Too much RNG for my taste. Himmelschwacht, here we come. You come to a remote village to find a few of its people crouched before a large, bleached skull, decoratively set on a lectern. Passing peasants pause and profess faith to it. As you get closer, you realize the skull itself is extraordinary. A long, thick forehead juts out from the top, its brow quite dominant and ridged. And the jaw of it, still intact, carries enormous and sharp teeth, most of which are in a state of disorder, as if in any ordinary head closing such a mouth would be a danger to itself. What it very well may be is a Noxerer skull. Naturally, with this strange skeletal sight before you, you hope to turn the company away before... We should take that for studying. Sighing, you turn to see Verlindane standing there, ogling the skull. You correct him, saying that instead what he really means is that he intends to steal it. The anatomist stares at you. The vocabulary needn't matter. When the studying is done, it will be of better use in our hands than theirs. That much is clear. Ooh, I've never seen this one before. And apparently we've got 2 contextual responses. One with our thief and one with our wild man. Thief feels like the more practical of the two, but I'm honestly curious about Wildman. You decide that if the anatomist can make some grand use of the skull, then you'll abide by giving them the chance to study it. The question is, how does one go about stealing a hideous skull from a group so insane they'd worship it? Almost as if on cue, Random the Wildman appears, chowing down on a handful of worms. His nature-rinsed face and cruelly shaped skull seem almost kin to the monstrosity which resides on the village's town center lectern. Verlin snaps his fingers and claims to have an idea. He pulls the Wildman forward, and the two walk straight toward the village's beloved skull. The anatomist pushes the Wildman before the praying folk, and claims that they have murdered one who is cousin to his being. He states that by stealing the skull of his kin, they have doomed him to a life of being cursed. The crowd is horrified, not realizing the error of their ways. The Wildman eats another worm. You continue to watch as the anatomist picks up the skull, lofts it over his head, and says that with this, he may finally heal Random of what ails him, and through him also lift any curses which may have befallen the village itself. By this point, the crowd is arisen, taking to the anatomist like a tentpole priest, and they clap as he leaves, cheering the theft as it were, the skull lofted above his head. The two men return to you. Verlin grins. To study the body, one shouldn't forget to study the mind. And in studying the mind, one shouldn't forget to study minds, plural. For many minds put together are a creature to study in and of themselves. The anatomist walks off. A group of peasants approach, carrying goods of all sorts. They throw them at the feet of Random in apology. The Wildman eats another worm. Okay, well, I mean, that's certainly not what I was expecting, but I'll take it. Just how the worm turns, I suppose. Not enough to bump Random up a level, unfortunately, but it did get him a little closer. He can use every bit he can get. And Himmelschwacht. Again, not much to see. Just a lone kennel. Interesting. Not sure if we've got any trade goods here, but we're not going to stick around till morning to find out. We'll just immediately keep pushing south. In fact, you know what? Let's stray a bit. We'll venture out through the grasslands here. Maybe we'll stumble onto a wilderness camp. But, you know, obviously, ultimately, our end goal is Eisengrab. Oh, here we go. The road to Eisengrab is a long and lonely one. Eventually passing another group, the raiders see the strangers tense, hands straying near weapons. But then, apparently thinking better of it, the strangers turn on their heels and quickly walk away. The raiders exchange glances, and then, just as quickly, set off in pursuit. Halfway across the field, the would-be bandits suddenly stop, setting up a ragtag line. But if their intent be to intimidate, the illusion is shattered as an opening shot from Bowman pierces a Pikmin's shoulder. The rest of the raiders warily advance, shields raised, stones and clumsily fired projectiles clattering off their shields. And just like that, battle is joined. Crudely armed bandits rush forward. Spying the opponent with a wounded shoulder, Annie rushes forward. A whirl of her flail. His head all but explodes. Random steps up next, landing a glancing blow. Drakiith follows through. A sweep of his blade, and a distracted foe's head flies. The rest of the raiders step up. Formation reset. Flesh wounds are doled out left and right. Their opponent's armor already hanging in tatters. But the brigands fight on. Perhaps too foolish or simply too desperate to stand down. Moving at an almost leisurely pace, Bowman steps up. Another careful shot fired, this time sinking feathers deep in an arch rival's gut. Rook lashes out, impaling a bandit flailman's hand, whilst Verlin rushes forward, engaging the wounded enemy archer. Drakiith pushes through a gap in the enemy lines, his sights set on the slingers beyond. On the south, Rassel cuts down the wounded flailman. On the north, Eerie runs a man through. And Rev another. Balin hefts a javelin. The first toss goes wide, but he compensates for the second, piercing a slingman's side. The brigand's line all but shattered. Annie rushes forward. The first to engage the slingers, though Random's not far behind. The wounded archer turns to run, inviting a fatal blow from Verlin. Drakiith strides forward, the slash of his blade leaving a nasty gash across a foe's nose and cheek. Another shot from Bowman. This time piercing a man's throat, the tip protruding at a jaunty angle from the back of his neck. The last of the brigand's linemen takes a tine to the eye. He howls as he's steered by Rassel's weapon, directly into the tines of Revenant's fork. The rest of the raiders converge upon the poor slingman. Though to his credit, one is still blindly swinging away, intent on going down fighting. A fate the raiders are more than happy to dole. Yeah, not much of a fight, but a good warm-up. Got a nice dagger out of it. Alright, Trip. What do we got? Level 4, so gifted. Oh, flubbed that defense roll, but you did start with higher than average, so I guess that's fine. And you did cap out that melee roll. We'll round out that morale. And you know what? Let's go ahead and round out that range defense, too. Might as well bump it up over 10. Just in case we go anticipation, which I don't think we will, but you know. If we are, you might as well have it in double digits. As for gifted, all the usual suspects. Melee defense, and then, yeah, let's go ahead and bump initiative. That'll be extra important if we end up going dagger duelist. Though that is still very much up in the air. It's really going to come down to where he is by level 7 or so. Everyone else good on knives? Oh, here we go. And let's see if we get lucky here. Ah, no, right into the mountains. That's no good. All right, fair enough. Wow, nothing over here either. Ooh. No, let's hit Eisengrab first. We'll worry about the tracks after. And nothing. Very bare bones. Is what I would say if they did not have double trade goods. Salt and copper ore, both relatively high value. So this is a great place for trading. Caravan hand. We do still need one. Apprentices a maybe. Alright, you know what? Give me a sec. I'm going to canvass our options here. And we're back. No one here I was really comfortable taking a chance on. There is some temptation to go for that plus 10% damage from Drunkard, but it just comes with such a nasty pool of negative potential events. The biggest probably being the one where they can inadvertently lose a random item from your inventory, which in our case could include potions, so yeah, I think that's a no-go. We do still have trade goods, but let's hold off on that until we take care of this. Perhaps bump those prices down a mite bit more. As you take stock of your inventory, a rather well-to-do man spots you and heads your way. He announces himself as being in the employ of Otwin the Burgermeister, an influential person in Eisengrab that wishes to talk business. You hand your duties over to Verlin Dane and let the man lead the way. Enjoy the secret punishment, Ver. You're not worming your way out of this one. When the Burgermeister's staring at his bookshelf, his back to you. He talks somberly. It's a shame not many can read these. Maybe our issues would go away if they could. Or maybe they'd just get worse. He shakes his head and turns around. We've got a gang of brigands soon to descend upon us. I need you, Sellsword, to stop them. My books sure as hell won't. If the pay is right, which I promise it will be, are you in? Ooh, defense contract. Those are relatively rare. Those are essentially like a wave-based gauntlet. 2 to 3 waves of enemies. If you punk out, you forfeit your pay. 1,200? I mean, that's 1,230. That's not bad. Yeah, we'll take it. Certainly worth a shot. Honestly, just good to know we're finally up against humans again. That does make it much more likely we'll at least pull gear we can use. We are further behind the curve than I'd like on equipment. It appears the local militia have joined the battle. A ragtag group of men, but they'll be useful nonetheless. Now the question is, where to send them? Well, we can always use distractions. You're with me? I mean, I'll certainly try to keep you alive, but I can't make any promises. Now that you've decided to take some of the locals under your command, they ask you how they should arm themselves for the battle to come. Honestly, they're probably not going to contribute much with bows, so we'll go sword and board. And now we wait. The brigands are in sight. Prepare for battle and protect the town. To arms! Are you guys moving to intercept, or are you just leaving? Okay, you're just leaving. Fair enough, more for us. Let's run down our quarry. Oof, marksmen and raiders, no thugs in the mix. We might actually be in for a fight here. Spying smoke in the distance, the raiders move to investigate, and are met by a hasty hail of arrows. Unlike the roadside thugs, these brigands seem particularly well armed and organized. Their shields set as they prepare for the raiders' advance. Tentative steps are taken. The brigands hold, shields raised, wall set. A brigand finally breaks rank, steering towards some higher ground towards the south. Oh, nice. We actually get to control these guys. Okay, well, I mean, in that case, I spy a brigand over there with a distinct lack of helmet. We'll sick the flailman on him. Though not by themselves, of course. We'll have Eerie and Rev accompanying. Ultimately, our goal is to neutralize that guy, then swing around and hit the archers. Spying his intent, Verlin rushes forward, seizing the high ground. More arrows yet fly. Bowman takes a measured step forward, taking careful aim, but failing to find his mark. And the lines square off, both waiting for the other to engage. The brigands fall back, consolidating their position. Archers well covered. I suppose that is one advantage we would have had if we had given bows to the militia. We would have had range superiority that would have encouraged the enemies to approach more aggressively. Drakiith finally steps up to the plate, engaging a bandit pickman. And just like that, the battle is well and truly joined. The militia moves in, doing their best to swing around the flank. Bowman takes aim. And this time lands a shot. The rival archer staggers, an arrow protruding from his shoulder. Verlin moves to flank. Eerie as well. Ah, shoot. Yeah, I should have seen that coming. Hang in there, bud. I got you. Just recalculating my approach here. Valen moves in, landing a glancing shot with a hurled javelin. The pikemen move up next, but are unable to get in swings of their own. And Sorrel swings wide, his eyes still set on the enemy archers. Perhaps in response, the archers begin a fighting withdrawal. Arrow takes aim, but a shot goes wide. A glancing shot clips off Rassel's chain. The flanking militia find themselves menaced. They're probably out of luck. But hey, as long as they can buy us some time. Seymore, however, has a bit more luck on the south. Crouched low, he creeps up on the archers from behind her eyes. Rev and Eerie start moving to support the militia on the north. Trip forces an opening in the enemy line. Sorrel lands a hit, but his feeble flail bounces off the enemy's reinforced helm. A hurled javelin clips an enemy archer. Corey, one of the unfortunate militiamen, catches a pick to the face. His nose stove in, teeth shattered. And he moves to support. As does Eerie. Oh no! Another brigand surges forward, a thrust of his spear, and Corey falls. Bowman puts down the enemy archer. Rook shears through a bandit bludgeoner's bicep. The man stumbles back, arm hanging limp. He glances around, looking to run. A mighty swing of a wooden mallet. But the northern flankers are thus far safe. The raiders push forward, trying to move to their aid. Valen hefts a javelin. Two more tosses land. The bandit axeman broken. perhaps not wanting to share Corey's fate. Seymore circles wide, using trees as cover. Oh. Cowardice or simple common sense? We'll let Alvar decide. A thrust of Erie's spear, a brigand's thigh pierced. And Annie quickly capitalizes, sweeping his other leg out from beneath him. He tumbles to the ground, all but defeated. The southern flank broken, the raiders begin rallying north. Half the militia already lay dead, but, you know, better late than never. The bandits begin to flee. The bludgeoner stumbling away, the axeman struck down. Eyes locked on the fleeing bludgeoner. Arrow takes aim. But his shot falls short. Rook gives him a nod, then quickly sets in pursuit. Ooh, gosh. Another thunderous swing of the mallet, and Sorrel falls. Erie stumbles back in horror, the anatomist unaccustomed to this level of collateral carnage. Drakiith fells his wounded foe. Val steps up, putting a javelin in the Pikmin's side. The man stumbles, his defense dropping, and Trip slashes across his femoral artery. Verlin rushes in from the south, ringing the bandit mauler's helm like a bell. Annie drops the last on the south, moving to join. Erie stumbles back, taking a moment to collect himself. The last of the bandit archers turns to flee. But he doesn't get far. Bowman's shot lands true. The enemy archer drops without a sound. The rest of the raiders rush in, savaging the remaining foes. The last surviving militiaman drives his spear into an archer's back, then takes a tentative step towards the north, though he is, understandably, reluctant to join the fray. The raiders wave him off. They'll handle it from here. And he goes for a dagger, driving it deep into a bandit's thigh. A second swing from Verlin, this time landing with less the ring of a bell and more the crunch of a wet, sodden egg. Rook runs down the last fleeing bandit, pinning him to the earth with his pike. Then sets his sights on rejoining the rest of the raiders. But Rev fells the last, and the raiders collectively survey the bloody battlefield. Quite a few prizes to claim, albeit at very steep cost. 3/4 of the local militia dead. Which again is a shame, but you know, just the cost of doing business, I suppose. And we'll worry about redistributing gear later. For now, though, do we have another wave out here? How are we looking? Oh, yep, there we go. Wave 2, incoming. Thugs, marksmen, and raiders. We'll hit them momentarily. Let me just clear some space real quick. Otherwise, we won't have room for loot. We'll dump the rugged surcoats. Those are less efficient than most other options. And I suppose we can start dropping some Tier 2 weapons. At this point, we should really be focused on Tier 3 and 4 where possible. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and swap those in. How about that flail? I guess it goes to Annie. Actually, no, wait. 19%, that's not going to last a full fight. We'll just earmark it for repairs for now. Swap it in later. And we're good to go. Into Wave 2, thankfully with no serious injuries. Albeit with significantly less militia in tow. Finding their first stop not worth the salt. The second wave of bandits goes against the grain. But the raiders quickly move to intervene. Oh, wow, goodness. Only to realize they've clearly been baited. The brigands set up in the tree lines near the low rise of a hill have a very advantageous position, especially with that concealed crossbow. A whistle and a shout. The raiders hastily backpedal. If these brigands want to fight, they'll have to give up the shelter of their shrubbery. Which they may or may not do. The addition of those javelins gives them range superiority. So they might hold ground, which will make this approach particularly perilous. Crossbow on high ground is rough. Nope, nope. There we go. Perhaps emboldened by the raiders' withdrawal, the brigand thugs begin rushing after them, eager to lay claim to their gear, only to find that the raiders have hastily established their own ambush in return, set up amidst the uneven terrain. Spying an unhelmed opponent, Bowman takes aim. The shot comes in low, piercing chain, which takes the sting from the strike, but still gives his target pause. The raiders hold. Steady, comes the call from the rear. And the brigands advance. The first met with the tines of Revenant's Fork. The rest of the raiders wait their turn. Shields readied, heads low. Annie breaks rank, unable to resist. Her flail whirls, cracking a bandit across the teeth. Berlin follows suit, circling wide, sights set on the enemy archers. With Trip running interference. Random gleefully races in as well. And with that, sheer carnage ensues. A javelin sinks into the lead bandit's chest, driving him to the ground. An axeman advances on the raider's back line, only to keel over backwards as he catches an arrow to the face. Erie rushes in, closing on their northern flank. Rook on the south. A bandit cleaver is coming down the center, but Annie and Drakiith have him locked in their sights. Rassel rallying behind them, whilst Seymore blocks his path to the south. A crossbow twangs, glancing off the shoulder of Drakiith's chained tunic. Undeterred, the flagellant steps forth, but is unable to find purchase with his blade. Bowman angles his bow. A shot lobbed over the enemy lines, piercing the crossbowman's arm. Finding himself too far back, Val pushes forward. Shrugging off multiple strikes, Random gleefully batters his opponent. Rook takes a more measured approach, stepping forward and piercing a bandit's arm. The man howls in agony, his cry cut short as Verlin crushes his throat. Erie forces back a bandit swordsman, herding the brigands into a tighter cluster. And he moves up. A swing of her flail, bloodying a bandit cleaver's scalp. The crossbowman hastily backpedals, seeking safety on higher ground. Bowman takes aim. His shots arcing overhead. Spying another opening, Rook takes a step to the side, driving his pike into the bandit cleaver's ribs. The bandits begin to break, but the raiders do not relent. Seymore catches an errant strike, the last militiaman reeling as his nose is bloodied and broken. Val lobs a shot into the fray. A fleeing bandit stumbles and falls. Here he fills the gap, driving his spear into the back of a swordsman's leg. Come on. And he bludgeons another fleeing bandit to the ground. And as he falls, the rest of the bandits are broken. Before the crossbowman can turn to flee, Drakiith rushes up the rise. The rest of the raiders set about their bloody work behind. An arrow sinking into the bandit swordsman's face. He reels, but still stays standing. Shield desperately held aloft as he turns aside blow after blow. Val backs up Drakiith, a javelin piercing the crossbowman's side. Club stowed, Verlin goes for his dagger, sinking it hilt deep into a bandit Pickman's thigh. Annie fells another and continues her grim advance. The brigand marksman looses one last wild shot. Trip rushes forward, driving his blade below the man's ribs and into his heart. Rook impales the bandit Pickman. Eerie impales the archer, though he yet still lives. A situation swiftly rectified by a javelin to the back. And thus the second wave complete. The raiders once again collect their bloody due, including that light crossbow. Plus some other nice stuff. Actually pulled a couple of tier 3s. 2 usable sets of chain, albeit the weaker version. Nasal helm. Yeah, not bad at all. Space is becoming a bit of an issue. I was trying to save for that blacksmith, but it might be worth going ahead and investing in that wagon instead. I'll mull on that. That might be the first thing we do next time around. The fighting is over, and the men idle in a welcome respite. Otwin the Burgermeister will be waiting for you back in town. Well, let's not keep him waiting then. Let's go collect our pay. And yeah, I think that'll bring us to a good place to call it. When you return to Otwin the Burgermeister, you find his room has almost been packed up, everything ready to move and go. You raise a bit of humorous concern. Getting ready to go somewhere? The man's settled down into his chair. I had my doubts, Sellsword. Can you blame me? For what it's worth, you shouldn't need doubt my ability to pay. He sways a hand across his desk. On the corner is a satchel, lumpy and bulbous with coin. As promised. Fantastic. Also, sorry about your militia. I mean, one made it out, mostly. Not sure if that actually helped us on the prices, though obviously we'll still grab this stuff regardless. The real issue being that we are once again sucking fumes on storage space, so yeah, this This will take some wrangling. I see a few things we can sell. But again, we'll worry about that next time. For now, we'll hit the pause button. I'll take care of the usual off-screen bookkeeping, do a bit more inventory management, and we'll pick up here next time, as the raiders are perhaps given carte blanche. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Erie V23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.